answers to Component 3 AIM-C Lesson 1, the break-even tasks. Question 1, the definition of break-even. It's the point at which costs equal revenue. The enterprise can cover their costs, but they're not yet making profit. They're at zero. Question 2, give the break-even formula. And in its algebraic form, it's FC over SP minus VC. But in words, it's fixed costs divided by sales price minus variable cost. Question 3. How many customers does the pet food company need to visit its shop each month to break even? First of all, it's break even. Let's have the formula in front of us. I'm going to choose the shorthand version, which is the algebraic form, fixed cost divided by sales price minus variable cost. So let's put the figures into it. We've got running costs at £60,000, so that's also known as aka fixed cost £60,000. Then we've got sales price at £55 minus variable cost at £12. The answer to that is £43. So now we want to take the £60,000 and divide £43 into it. That gives us the answer 1,395.34. Now we're talking about customers, so we can't have a 0.34 of a customer, so we round it up to 1,396. Now remember, you don't round up the number unless the exam question tells you. You always put the decimal place in. So the final answer is 1,396 customers need to visit the pet shop per month to break even. Question 4. Tyler and the wedding photography business, and we need to find out how many weddings is it before he breaks even. First of all then, let's have a look at the formula for break even just to remind ourselves. FC over SP minus VC. So that gives us fixed cost of 2,520 divided by the sales price, which is 850 minus £220. The final calculation is 2,520 divided by 630, because that's the answer to the sales price minus variable cost, and that gives us 4. Tyler needs to do 4 weddings in order to break even. Question 5. Tilly and the cake shop. Let's remind ourselves of the break-even formula. Here it is. So that gives us £500 fixed cost divided by £2 sales price minus 80p variable cost. Let's break that down even more. So we've got the £500 divided by £2 minus 80p, so that's 1.2. Then we've got 500 divided by the 1.2, what was the £1.20, and that gives us 416.6. And the final answer is 416.6 cakes is the break-even point, but you don't get 0.6 of a cake, so you round up to 417. But remember, you should always put the decimal place in as well. Question 6, Daryl and the world-famous fishing tours. Now, the information you need in a question are the £200 fixed cost. He spends £4 in bait line, so that's he's spending, so that's a cost to him. And he charges his customers £15 for a fishing trip, so that's his sales price. It's good practice to remind ourselves of the break-even formula, so here it is again. So let's note down the costs in the right order from the question. Fixed costs are £200 divided by £15 as the sale of the fishing trip minus £4 the cost of the bait lines. So let's cut all the words down and let's have a look at what numbers we've got left. That's £200 divided by 15 minus £4, so that's 11. So let's do the calculation. We've got 200 divided by 11, it gives us 18.18. So the break-even point is 18.18 fishing tours, of which you can't have 0.18 of a fishing tour if we put in our common sense head on, so that's rounded up to 19. But remember, if you notice, there's always the decimal point shown in the answers. Question 7, Zainab and the flower arranging business. Before we start though, it's always good practice to write down the break-even formula. Well, according to the question then, it is £600 fixed cost divided by £12 for sales price per bouquet. So it's £12 minus £7, which is the cost per bouquet. So that's the variable cost. So that gives us £600 divided by 12 minus 7. So that boils down to £600 divided by 5, which equals 120. Therefore, the answer is 120 bouquets are needed to be sold by Zainab in order for the florist to break even. Question 8. What do each of the 3 lines on the break-even chart represent? That is the green line, the red line and the purple line. Let's deal with the green line first. That is fixed costs. That is the indirect business costs, the expenses, the ones that are not related to the product. Next we'll deal with the red line. That is total costs. As you can see, it starts on top of the green line, which is fixed costs, and that is fixed cost plus variable costs. It gives you total costs. And the final line is the purple line. This one is revenue. That one represents the amount of profit made from selling the products or services. It starts off at 0, it's got no sales and no revenue, and as you can see, as the output moves along according to the x-axis, then the sales, the revenue goes up. And the area highlighted with the circle is the break-even point. Break-even is achieved when costs and revenue are equal. This means the enterprise does not lose or actually make any money. Question 10. On the break-even chart, what do the x and y axes represent? So let's deal with the x-axis first. The x-axis represents the output, the number of products or services that are sold by the enterprise. This leaves the y-axis. The y-axis represents the cost and the revenue. Question 11. On the break-even chart, where does the total revenue line begin? That is the purple one. It begins at 0, where no money is made and no products or services are sold. Question 12. On the break-even chart, where does the total cost line begin? And second part, how are the total costs calculated? Now we're looking at the red line. The red total cost line begins where fixed costs start. These are total costs after all. And you calculate total costs by adding fixed costs and variable costs together. Question 13. What do the areas to the left and right of the break-even point, the blue triangles, represent? Let's deal with the one on the left first. This area represents a loss. The company hasn't covered their costs. The red line is higher than the purple line, so it is in a loss. Now the triangle on the right, this represents a profit. The company has covered their costs. The revenue, the purple line, is higher than the red costs line. They're in profit. Therein completes all the answers for component 3 AIM-C break even lesson 1. There's more to follow, but well done, you've got this far.